Are we on the internet?
Oh my God. Is that Henry?
It is. I got him. I was able to get him to.
Good boy.
I have to have Bullock's down here too, but you can't see him. I've had to give him just thousands of treats. I'm postmating him by the minute.
It's what he deserves.
He does. I mean, basically, he lives. He lives outside in like a cabana with an umbrella. We bring him drinks.
That's wonderful.
Right, Ashley?
Wait, are we allowed to talk yet?
Are we on the screen?
I can address you. Well, you'll pop up when I address you because that's the way it works now.
I mean, okay.
Okay.
You don't have to change your voice. I mean, this isn't an FBI. This isn't a murder podcast.
I've come here to talk about the disintegrating spell. I understand that the government is looking for me.
Oh my God. We could have made a great video of that if we were in the studio.
Oh, yeah. Those times are gone.
Anyway, go away. Back to Danny and I. Thank you. Danny. Are you excited? You have beautiful fairy lights. You have your hair is, this is our second episode back. Are you pumped?
I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. Let's do this. We have so many questions.
This hair is great, by the way. Sorry, I had to jump in and interject because they look like lollipops.
Yeah, you look really cool.
Lollipops. Yes.
Like the
in
ones
addition,
you get at Disneyland.
Yes.
Yeah. In addition to that beautiful lollipop hair, tonight, the Mighty Nine go to Rumblecusp, have a con for a con man, go to Wrexham Trum, and have dinner with a horrible person. And no, it's not me. We're going to break it all down with my guests, Liam, Ashley.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
All that and more tonight on Talks Machina. One more for Henry. Come on.
What a good
Hey,
boy.
big
Oh.
Boom. We're back. Hey, hello everyone.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Zooming, man. Just zooming.
Yeah.
Zooming 9 in the morning till 10 at night. Just zooming.
The life of Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of zooming. Yes. Yeah, we all are. We talked about this in the last episode, but we're all kind of used to talking to each other on Zoom so much that this is sort of just like one of those things, except that this one lives on the internet forever.
Do you guys do like Zoom cocktails, Zoom meetups with just like one other friend or two other friends? Does that ever happen for you guys?
You guys have friends. I mean, you can answer that.
I mean, they're all in this company, my friends, but
Yeah. Have you been doing this?
I don't think I've
like
done that.
very social on Zoom? I haven't really been social on Zoom yet.
A little bit.
Been for work.
Just a little bit, just to like unwind occasionally with, I've done it with Matt and Marisha and I did like a cocktail night. I've met up with a friend or two. Mostly I'm pretty harrowed with everything, just like we all are.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into it.
It's full on.
It's full on. Can we swear on this show like we did on the old show, Brain?
Yes, we can absolutely do everything that we did on the old show as long as it is within the Twitch TOS. We're fine. So that means let's keep our nipples to ourselves.
We can talk about our nipples. We just can't show them.
Yes,
Wait, but you guys can show your nipples,
no, I
right?
don't
It's
believe.
female presenting.
No.
I don't think so.
I think with Twitch, I think that was the Tumblr thing, maybe.
Oh, that was the Tumblr thing. That's right.
Yeah, I'm getting a head nod from confirmation from Danny. Henry's asking for a treat, which means yes.
Pretty sure it's all nips. Boy nips and girl nips.
So, keep it.
Nips for days.
Let's keep it. Yeah, but you can swear.
Under
So continue what you were saying.
Well, the reason I ask is because it is just so fucking good to see you, Brian, and you, Danny. I've seen Ashley a bit because we're back to do the show, and it was fucking good to see her after she was gone for years and then came back, and then the fucking table got wiped off by a angry god cat. What timing? What timing?
Indeed. I know. Let's see. You were home for about 3 months. Only about 3 months before. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that was sort of the holiday break, so we missed a few episodes there, or whatever. So, man, yeah.
But Danny, I haven't fucking looked at you for longer than 3 minutes in half a year.
I know. It's horrible. You're one of my very bestest friends, and I haven't seen you in
Well, I'll
ages.
tell you what. Right here, right now on Talks Machina, episode 2 through Zoom. I don't know how we're labeling these. I commit to meeting you in a park with masks and my dog. Just us and my dog. How about it?
Oh,
Hey.
that would make me so happy.
Oh,
Done deal.
man.
But
That's
we'll
amazing.
We'll wear a mask, though, because there's no Zoom at the park.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. but it's
Masks and
complicated.
distance. Sprig can run the distance between us, and we
Yes.
can and snuggle.
Yep.
I may
sorry.
crash from afar. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's too many people. I don't know.
No, as long as it's distanced, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know, Ashley. When we get to 3, that might be a gathering. So
Yeah. That
I'm
might be
also a
gathering.
little worried about the sizing difference between Sprig and our dogs. So we would have to maybe leave our dogs at home if we were to
Sprig
try
don't
that.
care.
Because
Sprig will
I
just
know,
offer
but-
up his tum-tum.
Yeah,
just
he
gives it.
will.
that's true. That's
Henry
true.
would love on him like crazy. Bullock,
Bullock might
sure he's still
trample him. Yeah.
Sprig would just say,
He's a
carry me like a Tyrannosaurus Rex carries a monk. Just pick me up
yeah.
and just carry me around.
Yep.
Those Spriggy Sprigs.
All right, sorry, I hijacked the show to
No,
talk
this
about
is
dogs
great.
and shit.
No, I mean, people, that's why we did the pre-roll the way we did, is people obviously love our animals, all the different kinds of animals. Last week, people were so desperate to see Matt's bird that he left some bird shit on his chair from Dagon. And I was getting angry tweets when the last episode aired about where's Henry? So I had to figure out a way to get him up here.
There he is.
Man, I don't know.
he is.
I don't know how the screen's going to be framed or if Henry's going to be cut out, but he has the best like dopey dog smile on his face.
He really
You
does.
will be able to see him at certain points. Yeah.
Oh.
He's such a good
cute.
smiler. When he
He
does,
is
he's
a
like,
good smiler. There you go.
I love it so much. Big boy.
Okay. Animals.
Okay,
galore.
okay.
We're discussing tonight episodes 110 and 111,
Some
and
fun episodes to talk about.
the very fun episodes to talk about. So, oh boy, Danny and I there was some furious texting back and forth during this one, right? Because she's like, "Did you finish it yet?" I'm like, "I had to go to the bathroom and let the dogs out and hold on." I did. I just the end of. The end of 111 is where we have to start because it's the tiefling elephant in the room, obviously. It's a huge deal to every single member of the Mighty Nine, obviously. And though the episode ended with the sort of immediate discovery, how are your characters responding to the revelation that Molly, or at least some version of him, is alive?
Oh my god.
I suspected we would get back to Molly somehow, someday, but it doesn't mean that it was any less shocking when it finally happened.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
as we started, like, Caleb has been very like, oh, coincidence. There is no such thing as fate. But that's not what Liam was thinking. Caleb was the skeptic. The fact that just the show and the game and the story having fucking 9 so far up its ass is mind-breaking, that we're the Mighty 9, that he's got his eyes of 9, the Molly with his stuff all over him, and then those Titans with their 3 eyes and their 3 carved people under each. Like, that's just numerology. Who knew this show was about numerology?
It's crazy. It really is. It's and we every week we're always like, wait, there's 9 of that. There's 9 of that. We didn't mean to do that, obviously, but God, I was waiting for you to finish that episode because when I got home that night, I was like, it was a good episode. I can't wait for you to watch it. I was trying to sort of play it cool, but I was like, it was good. It was good. It was good. You need to watch it.
That's we talked about that on the last talks, and I also text Danny about this. I hate not being able to see it at the same time that it happens. I know a lot of fans and critters feel that way, but they don't know when we shoot it. You know, we could be shooting
Sure.
it,
Yeah.
a month. I don't know, whenever, but it does move around. So it's tough because I don't want to hear what happened unless God forbid, Yasha dies. It's like you have to tell me that immediately so that I
Right.
can, as the best spouse there is, undisputed, right?
Good boy.
He's staring
Good
at you.
boy. He
Good boy.
he didn't contradict you at all. Good boy.
All right, he gets a treat for that. Anyways, I would want to know because I do have a little bit of reality trauma from the night that Pike died in the pre-stream game because that's when I first, and I've shared this story before, but that's when I first really understood how real D&D is for people. Like, because Ash was so sort of affected, but I'm like, but you just go over once a month and you guys eat Cheetos and make fun of each other, And that's when I got like, man, this means a lot more. So
both those realities are true. The fear of death and the heartbreak and the Cheetos are both part
All
of
true.
the experience. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I've realized that something that I actually miss is I can't unpack the game with you when I come home. Of sort of talking about like, oh my God, this happened. That was crazy. What are your thoughts on this? So it's I just kind of have to sit with it and be like, okay, I got to wait till people get to see it. But that's the time that we're in. But
instead
that was
she
a good
comes,
episode.
It was a great episode. Instead she comes home and I have to fill her in on the Real Housewives of Amarillo, Texas that I was binging.
True, that you've been binging.
While she was shooting, yeah. Speaking of Cheetos, Liam.
Yes.
Caleb had I think it's fair to say, a rough reunion dinner with Trent. I was texting Danny about this and I said, I'm going through the dinner just, and I've been at some tense dinners. I've been at some tense dinners, right?
I was screaming just gross at my computer the whole time. I was like I'm watching it by myself in my apartment. I was just on my feet, just screaming at my computer the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
What was it like for him to walk into that room, with the Mighty Nine at his back, and be so honest with Trent about his hatred for him?
Well, everything that I set up before this campaign started and the way it's fallen into the campaign where Matt has like dropped little hints and where we're getting to, I guess, the meat of Caleb's stuff. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But it's not at all the way that I imagined it. I figured, I don't know, I think I imagined like encountering Trent and the old schoolmates like in the thick of it. And that could still happen, but I figured that there would be clashing and that we would be figuring things out in the middle of a fracas, not going what feels like, maybe we've got a lot of time left in this campaign, I don't know, but going late in the story where Caleb, I don't even know if I'm answering this question, but like Caleb, I think might have been a different person if he had run into these people much earlier in the story. But because he has spent so much time with the Mighty Nine without that stuff getting at him, they've changed him before he got to them. So I feel like Caleb, when he could have been way darker and more susceptible to, I don't know, like messier entanglement and being tempted to go back if it had happened sooner. But because he spent time with the Mighty Nine, like they've got their claws into him pretty deep. And like Astrid and Eadwulf were set up to be really complicated and a tangle for Caleb when I ran into them. But because of the people that I've spent time with and the way that I feel about the people around me now, there's kind of like a shellac around Caleb that is not as easy to pierce for him with those people. I also think that that dealing with them is harder than what the way that Matt has set it up is harder than what I had imagined, because like fighting in the middle of the streets or on a mountaintop somewhere is easy in a way, and harder is to walk into that room where you're invited and you don't want to, like, I didn't want to kill anybody or try to kill anybody. We're trying to make the Empire work, but better. So I'm not going in there to just like fucking slaughter people. And what Trent dropped is impossible to cope with. Like Caleb went in there and just kind of wiped his dry erase board. I left that night going like, what do I do with this now? What do I do? And if everything that Trent said is true, could be lies, but if it's true, anything I do was his design. So like if I try to kill him, it's his design. And if I try to replace him, it's his design. Or if I try to make the Empire a better place, and that did feel super gross. But I don't know. I'm not even going to respond on what I think of it yet because I haven't really formulated a stance on it.
Was it a place that Caleb needed to get to, and did the Mighty Nine sort of, would he credit them with helping him get to that place to where he could confront Trent or someone that like him that's been a person like that in his life, in the way that he did?
Well, I think Caleb felt like an insect that wanted to hide for so long. I don't think I would have gone anywhere near Trent or Ostrid or Eadwulf. So he doesn't feel like they've got it on lock and they could, kill those three people, especially in his tower, which is, I'm sure, deadly in its own right. And I think of them, I don't know, but I think of them as higher level wizard and more accomplished, even Ostrid and Eadwulf, than Caleb is, because he was fridged for so long. But he would not have felt like he could walk up and talk to any of them without the Mighty Nine. Like the Mighty Nine cracked. It took a long time, but cracked Caleb open like a walnut, and brought out the person that close to the person that he would have been if all that shit had not happened to him.
Yeah.
But it's the from where I can see right now, what Matt has chosen to do with it is much more murky to me as to how to go forward than ways I could have imagined it. Like, if it were a Percy revenge story, it'd be like, fuck it, we're storming this building and just, I'm going to pull my gun, I'm going to murder you, which was, fucking great. Who doesn't love the Briarwood arc? We do. Everybody does. But it's if that's what it had been, it would have seemed simple to me. I'm just going to go in here and exact my revenge. But I think for Caleb over the course of this story, things have shifted somewhat. Like, I'm not going to promise that if Matt doesn't drop carrots in front of me that show me how to tinker with time and fuck with the timeline, that Caleb wouldn't be tempted to do it. But I don't think it's as all consuming as it was. And more so, he realizes that the more patriotic thing to do and the thing to maybe honor his parents more would be to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore. And Caleb's original plans, which there's still a nugget in his brain, and it's still possible that he could be tempted by the drug to go after it. He wants to. What he wanted in the beginning was selfish, entirely selfish. Even if he was trying to save somebody, himself and his parents, it was selfish. And now he's like, I'm too wound up in this. I've got these people. I'm talking way too much. I've got the Mighty Nine wound up in this.
We have a lot.
I love it.
I owe it to them. I owe it to the people of this country. Everything that's been sacrificed and everybody who, even on the dynasty side, like the web that the Mighty Nine has sort of walked through and strewn together is so complex that if Caleb were to get that carrot and go chasing it, God, he'd be risking everything. Everything.
It's interesting. I have noticed in this campaign that some of the choices aren't as, and I think we've all kind of talked about this before, and even on talks, the choices that we're left with aren't as black and white, I guess, where it's, yes, we're in a fantasy world, but the choices that we're left with and the situations that we're in feel more like real life. Because it's like, well,
yeah,
the people aren't all bad. They're not straight evil. They're not, well, I mean, Trent feels pretty fucking terrible to me, and to Yasha, of course. And it's just interesting. I really like how Matt has sort of, had that as kind of a background, not theme, but in this game in particular, where it's sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the right thing is to do here in this situation.
I think with Vox Machina, there was like myth and sort of like a feeling of legend to it, and now it does feel more like real life, and I think that I make decisions that I'm very happy with, and also have major regrets with at the same time. And it feels like this could be open. I mean, Matt has not shown us what's behind the curtain, maybe for Act 3. I don't know, or Act 3 of 4, or Act 3 of 3. I don't know. I'm just pulling that out of my ass. But we don't know if there's something really heavy coming, or what this city is, where it's going. But it feels like these people could also just be ongoing with their problems for the next 30 years. I mean, Caleb certainly could.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. There's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of deep hurt, and there's a lot of potential, all still to be explored, and some to be healed, some to be, turned into revenge, hopefully. Who knows? But yeah, there's still a lot it's a little tough to gauge where the campaign is, like you were kind of referencing earlier. It's tough to know, how far you are into what Matt has really planned. I mean, we're not fighting on top of a Titan that's,
right,
doing stuff.
Thanks to Matt's, his skill of what he does, I really do not know what Caleb wants right now. And Caleb doesn't know. He's got to think about it, I guess.
It really puts us in a place that I think is, and I've talked about this before with this character. I wanted to give her more conflict and more things to overcome. And Matt sort of built this in a way where it gives us almost more to deal with emotionally with these characters. And I think all of us sort of, built our backstories really heavy this go around. And Matt honored that. And I love what he's doing with it. I'm having a blast. Mainly because I'm home.
Yeah,
even if things are different, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes. People are probably wondering why we're doing it from separate places and not, but it would be kind of awkward to ask you questions like right next to me.
Yeah, no, that would be, yeah.
That'd be weird, right? Because we usually talk across the house anyway. We usually communicate.
This is how we communicate now anyway.
Yes,
so.
we Zoom
it's so
each
strange
other.
that you decided to work around a restraining order in the same house.
Hey, man. These are unprecedented times.
Yeah.
These are unprecedented times. I saw the Subway commercial said that to me. Ashley, speaking of your gorgeous face, going back to talking about everyone's favorite dead D&D character, Molly. Jester pointed out to Caleb that some of the nine might find visiting Molly's grave a little painful. She used Bo in her example, but how did Yasha feel about visiting the gravesite of her best friend before she found out he wasn't there anymore?
Boy, that I think going back to I think for me, because I wasn't at that particular game, so Ashley was very excited to sort of go to the gravesite and sort of be there and whatever we were going to do, honor him, but also in character, I think, I guess speaking with dead and taking him out of his grave isn't necessarily honoring him, but I think, for me, Yasha was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Hesitant, but knew what needed to be done. And I think it was, and I'm sure Jester uses Bo as an example because Yasha is someone who holds things very, very close to the chest. So she's not as open with her emotions or what's going on. Even Ford said Yasha's kind of hard to read. And Yasha was stressed. I was stressed. I was like, because I think we all sort of felt the energy in the studio of like, what is Matt gonna do here?
Yeah.
Like some shit is about to go down. Like we all just fucking knew it. We could feel it. There was a rumble in the room and we were all like, okay, here we go.
And you could feel the dust in the air just sort of like slowly floating towards and coalescing around Taliesin.
Yes!
boy.
I kept like,
watching
looking over
his
at
face.
Taliesin. Ooh, I'm getting like goosebumpy just
I
thinking
can't
about
wait
it.
to see all the gifts. I text Danny. I'm like, there were some truth bombs dropped in that episode in 111, and 2, wait, we don't know the name of the episode, do we? We don't even know the name.
I don't think
of the
there's a name
episode.
yet. Yeah.
That's how fresh it is that we're talking about it. Oh,
Fresh meat.
but it's
I think
fresh
it was
meat.
Weekend at Molly's too.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's good.
It wouldn't be great if that's where it went. If it was just Bo and Yasha propping him up,
Just yep.
Yeah.
carrying him around and fighting evil.
Very interesting, like height
Sunglasses,
difference
crooked.
for Molly.
Yep.
Yeah. He's just like hanging out all cool. I wonder how that
man.
movie holds up, by the way.
Probably not
Anyway.
great.
Probably
not
not
great.
great.
Probably not
most
great.
most movies just don't.
Yeah.
We've
look
been
back.
watching. Side note: we've been watching some funny movies, and some of those movies don't hold
Yeah,
up.
The
anymore.
Running Man, which not at all resembles the book written by some guy named Richard Bachman, but yeah, it's
Some guy.
some guy. Yeah, there's some stuff you go like, oh wow, when I was a kid, I wasn't picking up on
How
any
bad
of
this was?
Yeah, like you're just
Yep.
seeing stuff and you're like, wow, that's fucking crazy. I've never seen something like that before. You know, you see Total Recall at your friend Gary's house and you're like, whoa, 3 tits, that's the way to go. You know what I mean? Like you're just a kid.
Why
You know
have
what I
2
mean?
when you could have 3?
That's what that movie taught us.
That's just math.
Yeah, it's math, man.
Oh boy. Oh,
Yeah,
poor
the 80s
Gary.
is a ripe minefield of problematic shit.
Boy, oh
Yeah.
boy,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
boy, oh boy. Oh
Anyway,
boy.
sorry. I sidetracked.
Hey, speaking of problematic people, Liam,
Yeah.
this question's not about me. But going back to the dinner, Caleb went to the dinner mostly because he had to see if Eodwulf, that one's tough for me, Danny. 2 weeks ago, I killed it on every single pronunciation. Laura was
It's-
stumbling.
I'm going to clear it up for you. It's like the word aid, like a band aid, but then make it 2 syllables. Aid. Wolf.
Aid.
Aid wolf.
Aid.
Eodwulf.
Aid wolf.
Eodwulf.
And you say it so beautifully, though.
Oh, thank you, babe.
No, Liam. Please, can you say it?
Oh,
Say it.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
say it. She's
Aid
wanting-
wolf.
Well,
Aid wolf. I'm probably peeking out.
how
Aid-
beautiful.
Aid wolf and Astrid.
Aid and Astrid.
Man, I've thought a lot about those two for a long time.
Well, you went there to
Long
see if
time.
they could be redeemed, but how's he feeling about them now? Like, does he think there's any hope for him under Trent?
Well, Matt did say that there was like a glimmer or a waver in Astrid.
Mm.
We'll see. I also think that she's wickedly intelligent, and Caleb thinks she's knows she's wickedly intelligent, and knows how ambitious she is. So he would definitely was heartened to see that, and a future where maybe they could replace their teacher and make things better. That is definitely appealing to him, but he is also not reading it at face value and knows why she's in the spot that she's in. So it'd take a little more than that glimmer, but we'll see.
I understand.
I loved the walk outside and Matt narrating that like Eodwulf pulled just a shitty liquor bottle out of a pocket, a magical pocket out of nowhere, and then passing it around. I've thought about those two a lot. A lot.
Danny, you got to chime in here and tell us how you're feeling. What are you thinking?
I don't trust Astrid farther than I can throw that.
You don't?
Nope.
Well, that's
For
cool, though.
everything that Liam just said. I honestly, I went into that dinner thinking that she was gonna, I was, because after you saw her the first time, I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. And even through the dinner, I was like, okay. And then the moment that she said race you to the top, I was like, nuh-uh, nope. This bitch just wants the power. She just wants it.
Boy.
Nope.
I don't trust her.
Nope.
Nope.
That's super hot though. This is pretty cool.
I mean, it's super hot.
Yeah.
But trust-wise, nah.
Yeah, I just to jump back to something I said earlier, like
Please.
I really feel that if Caleb had got smushed into his backstory at like episode 40 or 50 or 60, we'd be seeing very different scenes between Caleb and Astrid, and I really wanted to leave it open. I have a whole like bucket of songs for Caleb going bad again.
Wow.
And I really like was open to and excited by the idea of going like, well, let's put on a knife's edge and see, and maybe he'll tilt in the wrong direction and I'll make a new character, and then they'll deal with Caleb down the line.
Wow.
And it's because of how much time he spent with the Mighty Nine that was no longer possible. That wasn't a possible branch.
Wow.
D&D is fun.
I mean, yeah. Going bad, huh? So what was on that playlist? Like a lot of Deftones and stuff?
Yeah, a lot of ska. A lot of Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, dude, Op Ivy. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Ashley.
Okay, I'm gonna drink my embarrassing drink and make sure.
Drink your embarrassing
what the label
drink.
is.
Drink your embarrassing drink while I ask you this question. But Danny, this is one that Danny wanted to know, and I have to read this exactly how she wrote it because it's so goddamn beautiful. This one's written by It's Danny Carr. I don't know. Is that your thing still? Is that your thing still?
Yes.
Okay. Yasha's time at sea and on Rumble Cusp resulted in visions that led to her finally breaking free of her own inner shackles and freeing Zuala from being a memory tied only to sadness. What meaning does she take from these visions in her final goodbye to her wife? Thank you, Danny. We all want
Danny, that
all
is a
wanna know.
good question, man.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
Read it to me again.
Okay.
Read it to me again.
Yasha's time at sea and on Rumble Cusp resulted in visions that led to her finally breaking free of her own inner shackles and freeing Zuala from being a memory tied only to sadness. What meaning does she take from these visions and her final goodbye to her wife?
That was a big deal. That was a really big deal. And I think that was clearly something that needed to happen for Yasha. And I think the
To,
Stormlord knew
progress
that,
and
and
stuff?
to progress, to move on to, I think there's, along with everything else that Yasha has done, obviously, outside of her willpower, I mean, but being mind controlled by Oban and every other instance. But that low wisdom, man. But that was a big deal. I mean, that's guilt that I think she will always carry with her. But at least she's starting to forgive herself in that. And I think sort of, the physical representation of that, of sort of losing the chains and, her actually sprouting wings, which honestly, never knew that was a possibility.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk. We gotta talk about
I didn't
that.
know that was a possibility, that would ever happen when I created the character. I was just like, oh, dope, skeleton wings. Cool. They don't really do anything but scare people. Yeah, that's so fucking metal. I'm in.
Yeah, Guar.
Yeah, I didn't know. So each time I've been so surprised. I'm like, what is happening? This is so cool.
Yeah.
But
Did you wish
Yeah.
that first flight had been solo, or were you glad to have Bo there with you for that first flight?
I'm glad Bo was there. I think I think, I'm thinking of that quote that was Into the Wilds, that happiness is only real when it's shared, something like that. And I think for Yasha, she's one of those people that if something is beautiful and wonderful, she wants to share it, even though she's kind of shy about it and kind of keeps things to herself. I think she also is like, oh, this is a cool, beautiful thing. You know, it's I think that was really, really special for her. And I think if she was alone, it wouldn't have been as impactful for her. I think having Bo there and carrying her and that was a cool moment. But
yeah. Good.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of healing for Yasha in these past few episodes for sure. And it was funny because I was even texting Danny about this when Danny saw the episode and texted me and was like, oh my gosh, you got to see your wife and everything's better. And obviously Danny said something much more beautiful than that.
I think we all secretly confide singularly to Danny.
I think we all do.
I know I do.
Probably.
I'm finding out we all do. Danny's battery must die before noon every day on her phone.
She's got all the secrets.
It's also like we don't get to see Danny after the show anymore as
it's
well,
true.
which is
or
another
every
part
day
of
at
the
work.
show.
Yeah,
because like we'll walk out to the lobby and then Danny will be in her little blankie and crying or being or happy
accurate.
or so
pretty
it's like
accurate.
we either have to hug her or jump and smile and laugh with her. It's so yeah, we got to catch up about it. But it was so funny because I feel like when I took off and started to fly away, and then I think that's when Zuala said something, and I was like, "Wait, I can talk to her." And I was like, "Wait, should I go back? I don't know what to do." And then I could have had a whole conversation with her, but I that moment, and we've talked about it before, when all eyes are on you with Matt, sometimes you're just like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
You're just like,
it's total Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's so bizarre, but it really is, because you're just like, oh, okay, I'll do this, and then of course later you're like, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that.
And that was what we had talked about whenever we were having that conversation. Was the way that I read the scene was that you couldn't have talked to her. There was you had to fly away to hear her. You had to go. And that was what kind of brought her back to you, and to have that final moment was you released her, but you couldn't have had a real conversation with her because that wouldn't have released her.
I don't think, it wouldn't have released her. And I think I would have gotten pulled under and held on to that guilt. But yeah, so thank you for making me feel better about that, Danny.
That's also part of her job.
Yes.
I fucking love Yasha, and I think something that Yasha and Caduceus share in common is that still waters run deep. I love that about the two of you guys, and like you're like the darker half of that coin. I love it.
Oh, thanks, Lemurs.
Where you hang back, because she hangs back so much, and then you have these fucking killer moments like the fighting pit, where the wild woman who is Ashley Johnson with all of her knife collection comes out in weird little ways.
It comes out every once in a while. Yeah, I'm a little weird.
We moved recently, and there's a box opener she's been using as a box opener is a knife about this big, and it terrifies me every time I see it or see her holding it, which I think is the intended
It was the only one around. It's like a fishing knife, and I was like, well, okay, this is the only one around, and
yeah, it's like for cutting open jaws.
Yeah.
He's like, that looks like the knife that is like in the evidence in every murder that you see, because it's just like
it looks like it's handle. Got like the it looks like something that would be in a trash can. Someone would dump in a trash can in a. Oh boy, now I'm really implicating myself.
I know, no. Well.
But do you know what's a better idea than that?
Oh.
Cosplay of the week!
Yeah!
Oh,
in our eyes.
Henry is so excited about cosplay of the week.
Good
is
boy.
Bullock up there with you?
He is. Well,
none of them are with me. This is so
no,
rude.
Well, I also have the bag of treats, babe. So let's talk
Oh,
about,
well, this is fair enough.
they also love me more. Our winner for this week, that's not true, was sent in by Crystal Armstead at Ryuski.
Give it. Show it.
Photo
Give it to
by
me.
Courtney Armstead at Minomotu. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Oh my
gorgeous.
God.
Yes.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And a halo.
That was so good.
That halo, how?
Probably sprouted out of the back of her skull.
Yeah, because she's an
Yeah, she's
actual
probably
angel.
real.
Maybe she's born with it.
God.
Maybe it's radiation. No, it's a beautiful, beautiful touch up to the
So
photo. She looks
gorgeous.
amazing.
Look at that beauty. It's
freckles.
perfect. The freckles.
I
That
can't remember
is such
the-
a cool touch, by the way. The golden freckles
the
was
golden
such a
freckles.
cool idea.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember the actor who played that.
I love the
characters.
physicality in this photo too. I love the I just feel like this photo is just really emphasizing just how much she's embodying Rini of this almost hesitation, but still ready to go, just in energy and attitude.
Yeah.
I really, really love it. It's so beautiful.
I love how she's gently has her hands up, just so daintily.
I've
That
got to
is
know how the
beautiful.
halo works though, because I'm mesmerized by it.
I know.
Well,
me too.
Brian, you would never understand how a halo works.
No.
never.
I
Not
I
never.
even have the lyrics to the Beyonce song on my inner thigh, and I still it didn't help.
It's true, he does.
You can't reach
Well-
that high, Brian.
Congrats to you, Crystal. You have won this $100 gift card to the U.S. Critical Role Shop. Yes. Keep an eye out on our social media because that's where we usually announce the merch first. And on Thursday nights at the show, because stuff sells out fast and we want you to get something that you really want. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in there right now. So go and thank you, Crystal. For everyone else, you can enter our weekly contests by visiting. Here, have a treat to give me good luck for this.
Oh.
Critroll.com. Psych. Slash.
Be still my heart.
It's been
Submit.
so long.
It's been so long.
We're not doing the show without it. We're not
can't.
doing the show without it.
Unfortunately.
Rules
Henry,
for
what
our.
do you think about it? Oh,
He
sorry.
thinks-
You still have things to
No,
say.
he thinks you can't do the show without me either. Is what he said.
Well,
He
a
asked
great
for
work of
treat.
art is not a great work of art without its imperfections. So
That's-
slash
Yes.
away, Brian Foster.
Yes.
Slash
That's-
away.
That's tattooed on my other thigh. Just so you know. Just so you know. Let's see. Rules for our contest are available at critroll.com. And there's a lot of cool stuff available at critroll.com. So you should go there and check it out.
Treats and treasures.
Say again.
Treats and treasures.
Treats and treasures. Okay, for both of you, how was it to return to Rexentrum? We have to talk about this. Just tell
Boy,
me.
oh boy. Liam?
I mean, it's another thing that I think about all the time about that's what on purpose, Caleb's got so much pain and misery wrapped with so much beauty and culture and architecture and magic. And I think about the time that I spent in Munich and all my time in New York City. Like really, Rexentrum is just my time in NYC and Munich combined. And just, Caleb is still, the reason he gives a shit about the Empire is because it's capable of so much. He just doesn't want it to be at the cost that it seems to be at. Maybe he's foolish. Maybe it's unattainable, but maybe it is. And so I think Caleb's love of magic and the reason we see Caleb sort of light up when he's learning magic or sharing magic or finding a book or finding a manuscript is very much wrapped up in the Solstice Academy, which is fucking scary as shit, but also had lots of wonderful times to it. And I think of like I brought folks to that dance hall because I wanted to like relive the things that Caleb loved about that city and about his life, which was not all bad. It was just, tragically cut through with tragedy. But
yeah, and that's one of the interesting things that Danny pointed out was Caleb, obviously, and you can tell by the way you talk, has a clear reverence for the city and even for the academy. Ash was freed of mind control there. What's it like to return to a place that was a source of pain and jubilation?
Yeah, I think especially going back to the cathedral.
Yep.
What was it called? Why am I blanking?
Chantry of the Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
so quick.
Lore Keeper.
That's why she gets paid the lore keeper bucks.
I'm glad we didn't really get to go inside and sort of see. It was just sort of, remembering everything that happened there. I mean, that was a pretty traumatic moment. I think also almost killing Bo. I think because of everything that had happened in the, past few weeks, I guess, since that. I don't know timing wise since how long it's been since that point.
I think only a few weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a few weeks.
Maybe like a month. I have no idea. I'm really bad at the calendar.
Rip live crit roll stats updates though.
Right.
Rip live crit roll stats updates. Spam it in the chat.
We need it.
Ashley, you were on a Zoom chat talking about games that happened a couple of weeks ago, but also talking about moments that happened months ago.
Yes.
Months ago before the sky fell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time means nothing anymore. Nothing.
Time means nothing, but thank God we have a lore keeper. Because at least now we can be like, wait, what happened? Who was this? Where was this? When was this?
I have such an interesting reaction to watching you guys like try to remember people's names during the show or things like that. I'm always just
what were all of our horses' names early in the campaign? Crapper and
they were all like Crapper and John and WC and things like that. It was
They were all things that get yelled at me whenever I'm around you guys.
yes.
Yes, exactly.
I think there were six. I think there were 6 horses, but I just remember they were all derivations of talking about restrooms. So
that sounds on brand.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of healing in the past few weeks. So I think, it's kind of what Liam was saying. I think if everything that sort of hadn't happened, sort of having that vision with the Stormlord and sort of starting to forgive herself for some things that she's been carrying around, I think that would have been a very different experience going back there. But it's also it was kind of a physical representation, I guess, of the growth. Of sort of seeing the last place where, well, I guess not the last place because she was also mind controlled with Vokodo.
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree, but it was the last time she was kind of against. I don't know. It's she's grown a lot since then, so I think it wasn't as hard as it could have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah, so much has happened. We have so much much ground to cover. It's crazy.
I know we do.
Speaking of Liam, we have to talk about Wittagast's nascent 9-sided tower. Did I say it right? No, Danny.
I think it's
what's
nascent.
it called? Nascent.
And since time does not exist. And I don't remember what we did in what numbered episodes.
Okay.
Danny, I'm going to ask you because Brian doesn't know. Where did we leave off? In the episodes that we're covering, what was the end of the final episode that we're covering today?
The same as what you've shot.
What you've shot.
Everything that we've shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Time
We
is
can talk about
Nothing's
all of
off. Nothing's off limits that has happened that you've shot so far. That's how talks will
Unless
work.
you have
Okay.
visited the future, Liam O'Brien, then and
Who
again
knows
that
with
is
Liam?
that's all you. I'm not asking for specifics, but we're discussing everything y'all have shot so far.
What was your question about Weekend at Bernie's 2 again, Brian?
My question about Weekend at Bernie's 2 is that no, the tower, which was such a cool chunk of that episode, but it really feels like a love letter from Caleb to his friends. So I guess just tell us about your inspiration for the tower and how it ended up coming to fruition.
It is, and a love letter to my friends, Liam's friends, and I don't know. I mean, like I think back as I look at all the spells that Caleb can get access to, and I think of all the ones that I loved from the last campaign where I had almost no magic, and one of our favorites, one thing that facilitated so much great fun and shenanigans and role-playing moments was that fucking mansion. So I knew that I wanted us to be able to do that again, to be able to be on a volcano or to be in a frigid field in the tundra or in the Underdark or wherever it is Matt's going to take us, but also be able to get out of it and just hang out and talk to each other, especially now when we're also starved for company from our friends, the real people. But then it's Caleb, it's not Scanlan. And Scanlan his character was so brilliant because he was so good at improvisation and making shit up on the fly. And Caleb is so, I'm not, but Caleb is very specific and exact and methodical. And I started thinking about it over a year ago, like a year and a half ago. And I started writing what the tower was like 13 or 14 months ago. Wow. And have been editing it like every month. I would go in and be like, oh, that would totally change now because he feels a little differently about that. Or this person cares more about this thing. In fact, Jester's room I'd always said to myself, like, I'm never going to see her room because like, why would that come up? So I guess I'll make that my imagination of, just like with the illusions I cast in the dome, like my approximation of what Jester saw as a child. But I saw my shot and I took it in the episode or two leading up to it to like see her room. And so I've just been like tinkering with this machine for over a year and it's meant a lot to me. And I've just been like bursting at the seams with it, waiting. Matt knew about it ages ago.
It was so thorough.
Danny knew about it months and months ago. A few people in the company knew about it before you guys in the cast knew.
Liam, what am I? Am I chopped? What's the saying?
Liver?
You are Bernie.
Chopped cabbage?
Weekend at Bernie's 3. The Bernieing.
The Bernieing.
That moment was so beautiful, but also, which I don't think we ever got to talk about, was also you've been creating such beautiful things, because also with the dome of how you made all of the images come up around the dome. What did you call that?
Well, the spell was programmed illusion.
Programmed illusion. That's right.
So I still think like Caleb is getting to a place where he, a little bit like Yasha, understands that he was abused and manipulated. He still carries tons of blame for himself, but it's different when he first told it all to Bo and to Not, because then he was like, fuck me. There's no like, who cares what anyone else did? I did this. And over time, he's been able to like let it seep in that like you were fucking manipulated on purpose. This was somebody's design, but he still carries the blame for it. And he's got all this pain and misery and awful that he still carries in a sack with him everywhere he goes. But I like juxtaposing that with his fucking love of magic and his love of what he can do with it and creating beauty. It's his, it is his form of art. And I've tried to have that a little bit from the very beginning of the campaign, whenever he was finding books or getting a spell, like what is possible, the things that drew him, and then he was excited to go off to his own schmogwarts when he was a kid. And the Soltris was not like, welcome to death school. It was it was the Sorbonne. It was Yale. It was this amazing place where amazing things happened for people. And somebody inside that group in that school was recruiting a couple of people every year. It wasn't like broadcast that this was, KGB land. So
I
I've
went there on
been
a summer
really
vacation one
enjoyed.
time. Wasn't a very fun amusement park.
Didn't make
KGB
the
land?
cut.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Wasn't
No.
great.
So I've been enjoying the higher level magic where I could really sort of touch the things that Caleb has been imagining for so long. It's been
makes
fun.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's just how you sort of are interpreting some of these spells that are in the game and sort of making them your own. That's
It really is like connective tissue with Vax and Liam too, because like I love you guys. I love you guys so much, and I am like carrying a lump around with me. You know, like I'm dealing with some shit on my own. We don't need to get into it, but you guys are the light in my life, and you have been for years. And to be able to like, you know, lift up your friends or express how much you care for people. I mean, it's all I care about.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the fact that this is all connected to a game makes it all that more like weird and special and indicative of why we love D&D. Really is like, you know, this is it. Like, and especially with such a go ahead, Liam.
Just the game lets us all tinker with the things we want to tinker with. Like Laura created a very specific character for this campaign and has created such an interesting journey, and it's all things that she wanted to tinker with. And that's the beauty of this game.
That's true.
Hi, Bolek.
That's true. Yeah, he should.
Say hi, Bullock.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, Bullock. Hello, sweet.
Don't eat my dog. Don't eat my dog, Bolek.
Waggies.
He missed his mom.
Waggies.
He missed his mom. This guy's just over here eating treats like if there's no tomorrow. His shits are gonna be the size of. Hey,
My dog.
Yeah.
yeah, the opposite. Ashley.
Yes.
It was pointed out that Yasha is still wearing the breastplate that Oban gave her. Does that reminder make her wish to be rid of it, or is she seeking to reclaim ownership of the breastplate and have it be something used for good?
That's something that I'm trying to figure out how to do in game. But also it's for me, I mean, that breastplate is badass. So it's really hard to get rid of because, you know, the tusks and like, you know, it's a really cool fucking armor. But what it represents is not great. But it's also like, it's a great armor. It's hard to give it up. But I think she needs to. So I think that's something that I'm still sort of dealing with in game, and also trying to sort of switch some things around, because even with some other stuff, my armor class will still not be as high without it. So even with other stuff that I've gotten, so I'm like, whew, it's complicated, but I'm working through it, and I'm gonna figure it out in game if it comes up. We'll see.
Boy, oh boy.
I might not be able to let it go. But I mean, maybe that's like, I'll just be like, I'm gonna make this my own, and, you know, not think about where this came from. And
Well, that's what Danny and I wanted to know.
yeah, no, I don't think, we'll see, but I don't think that can happen.
Can I just say, you know, I'm not one to comment on a woman's appearance, but you look very beautiful tonight.
Oh, well, thanks. Makeup really does work wonders, as does a ring light.
You're talking about me?
As does a velvet
yeah.
70s number.
Velvet?
It's
Pretty
velvet.
cool.
Yeah, that 70s flower pattern. I love it.
It came with a matching scrunchie, she told
Oh,
me
I've
earlier.
got it.
Oh, you brought it just in case?
Show me the scrunchie.
Let's see it.
Show Dan. Oh, there it is.
Oh, my.
This is
my.
everything.
Boy, somebody's getting lucky
Yeah.
tonight. And it's Ashley.
Is the scrunchie also velvet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody
Perfect
that
for
I
this
know
weather.
I wear this girl's clothing a lot because I think she's amazing, and she's an amazing artist. And then she started. Sorry, I don't need to be talking about this.
Is this one specific person you robbed?
Yes.
She's also a career criminal like myself.
Yeah, she's an amazing artist, and then she started making clothing, and she's kind of like a fashion troll. Everything she makes is like kind of like trolling the fashion industry, and I've just become such a great supporter of her, and she sends me great stuff. And fashion brand company, I don't get paid for it. I just think she's great.
Nothing reflects Ashley's personality more than trolling through fashion.
Yeah, it really truly does. I think she's hilarious. So,
oh man, you look great. You look great. Liam and Danny know about this shirt, don't they?
I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there.
You know about that.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I'm making my way through.
Ashley's
Making my way downtown.
Ashley's like 40 pages shy of knowing what this is about, so we'll see. Maybe by the next talks.
Let them fight,
move.
Brian. Let them fight.
Yeah.
Liam.
Yes, sir.
So Caleb finally tells the entire group about his past. What was it like for him to finally reveal the story to everyone, and definitely particularly Jester, whom he worked so hard to hide it from?
It's a loose end that I have been looking to tie up for a long time, and kept thinking like maybe the right moment, because she deserves to be told. I think that what drew Caleb to Jester in the way that he has been is that she is such a good person and makes him feel like a good person. And the way that she sees him, or has seen him, has made him feel like this is what I was always supposed to. The way she thinks I am, that's the way I was supposed to be. And he selfishly was like, somebody sees me like that, and I selfishly want to feel that. So he knew, like, and I knew, like, one of these days I have to find the moment to like burst that bubble. And I know Liam knows, and I've heard Laura talk about it, that Jester is giving and wise and kind enough to not damn him or banish him if she were to know that. But Caleb's coming from, like, I created a very traumatic roadmap that he came through. So whether or not she thinks what she thinks, he doesn't. He didn't think that it would survive it. He thinks that he's shit. He still thinks that he's shit. So he put off as long as he could, knowing that he had to do it. And then he knew going into that dinner that, like, you can't risk going in there and having, and it's not just Jester, like, Yasha doesn't know everything, and Caduceus too, who is this like bastion of kindness and gentility and goodness. Like, Caduceus is already pushing the boundaries for what he will tolerate to work with the Mighty Nine. Like, it's just,
that's true.
And in these recent episodes, like Caduceus checked Caleb a couple times, and I was like, fair enough. I want this to work, and I won't push beyond. Even though, like, jumping back to Molly, I think Caleb really wanted to bring Molly back. I think in that moment I was like, we can bring people back. I can't bring my parents back. I don't have their bodies, but you can do that. If we can do that for him, maybe we can do it for anybody. Maybe we can. And it took a couple of people to be like, it's complicated for him to, like, let go of his sort of math brain and say, like, well, we need to figure out the thing and the thing and the thing and the thing and the thing.
Yeah.
Where did I start? There's a relief for everybody to know, even for me, because for the longest time I was like, which of these motherfuckers did I tell everything to?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd make that decision again to tell two people at the entire table everything, and then have to remember. It was a fucking nightmare. But she didn't damn him, and she didn't cast him aside, and I knew Liam knew she wouldn't, but Caleb did not. I don't know. Now we can move forward. Now we can fucking heal wounds, maybe.
Yep. Speaking of Caduceus, though, Ashley, Yasha and Caduceus had a really beautiful conversation about patience and wanting more time. Caduceus holds the view of a funeral worker, while Yasha's a woman who's seen so much loss. How did that conversation with him make her feel, and what did she take away from it?
Boy, that was a pretty interesting conversation, because I think Caduceus is, I mean, not speaking for him, but he's definitely an observer, and I think he picks up on a lot. I think probably more than everybody else is even picking up on themselves. And I think that conversation opened Yasha's eyes up to a lot, especially him saying, was it the thing that he said, patience can lead to apathy or something like that?
It was something like patience is good, but patience can lead to apathy. I'm still paraphrasing, but it's like patience to a point.
I texted to somebody. Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll find it while you're talking.
Okay. But it's that conversation was interesting, and it's hard because that was, how many weeks ago was that? So it's hard to recall everything in that conversation. So Danny, I might need you to give me some nuggets here. But from what I remember, I think that really.
What kind of nuggets?
I think that opened her eyes to a lot of stuff. Also he showed her that her hair was growing back silver and white again. And talking about how she's changing, and he can see that, and sort of, I think if you have somebody else tell you that, a friend say, hey, I know you're kind of changing for the better, that means a lot. Yeah, I mean, where that goes in terms of how she acts and what she does with Bo and how she responds with that, or, hey, we'll see.
I said nothing. I'm sitting here very innocently.
I know that there was like a little.
I'm watching
question.
I
am watching your D&D game respectfully.
I am watching respectfully. Well, because there's I believe that conversation was a very beautiful way of him just recognizing that there are things that because I feel like Yasha has been very much, oh, well, what you guys want to do, I just want to be I just want to be here. And I think it was also him saying, but you can have dreams too.
Yeah.
You can have things you want to do, and we're here for you. And yes, you can be patient, and yes, you can wait your turn until, that light is shown on you, but don't wait forever.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to put that. I mean, I absolutely, I think that is, I totally agree with that. I also think there's a little bit of, because I remember Veth saying, like, what do you think is your purpose? But I also kind of think it's interesting because there are so many people in the world that don't know what their purpose is. So there's a part of me that still think Yasha's still figuring that out. And, just sort of now becoming this other, she's changing. So it's like, she doesn't know what all of that means yet or what purpose that's for. She's always been her whole life serving somebody, whether it was the Sky Spear, whether it was Oban, or whether, so she doesn't know how to sort of, in some ways, make her own decisions. And it's gaining that sort of confidence and realizing, when Veth asked her that question, I know this wasn't in the questions that you said, but that was kind of a big deal for her, of like, oh, I don't know what that is. Because I've always been like, yeah, what do we need? What would you like me to do? What do you need? I'm here to do what you need. And it's that conversation with Caduceus kind of changed a lot.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be, I'm excited to see how that moves her forward.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me
Messy.
Messy.
Love
Messy.
Love
Messy. Yep. Boy, I can tell you one thing that's not messy. It's fan art of the week.
Hey, give it to me.
Art Dad.
I'm right here.
Art Dad.
That's what we're saying. Finally, we're back. I can't wait till it's Art Dad sweater weather, by the way.
Oh, same.
It is
me
not
that
Art
Art
Dad
Dad sweater
sweater weather right now, but it will be soon.
No, we need the
Have no
burning
fear,
stuff.
critters. This winter, he will grow a huge, luscious beard down to his navel, like me.
But you and I this year probably cannot enmesh our beards like Velcro.
Not like we used to do
No.
at the authentic Mexican restaurants.
At the
4 or
mescaline
5
restaurant?
nights
Yep.
a week.
At
The
the
mescaline restaurants? Did I say that?
No.
Sounded
Oh,
like
wow, that would have been
I just wanted you to
that would have been a
Yeah.
fucking Freudian slip for the ages, Arsqueef. Hey, our winner for this week was sent in by JMNP Art at JMNP7888. Let's take a look.
Oh, pithy.
Oh my
Speaking of this
goodness.
moment, speaking of this wonderful moment.
Yeah. The expressions are really great. They're really
faces are
perfect.
so good.
It's
You know what I
perfect.
love about this? I haven't seen this because I've been spending time off of social medias just for mental health reasons.
Yeah.
But I love that Yasha is just looking at Bo. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, she
Well,
Bo
in
is
this
like
frame, she is
Yeah.
in this picture, but it's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
And I love that Bo's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I see Bo giddy and having a wonderful time, and Yasha not feeling embarrassed or inhibited as she looks at Bo. Which
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
The freedom of the just both of them is just so beautiful.
I
The
love it.
joy that's just right there is so wonderful.
I love it. And I love the lighting too.
The little laces on Bo's boots at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's so there's such little
Yeah,
great little
there's
details. In
details.
It's beautiful,
Oh man, those
gorgeous.
wings are sick.
No.
Hey, congrats to you, JMNP Art. You have won this. I'm really making Max work, aren't I? $100 gift card
Oh.
to the Critical Role US shop. Remember, you can enter our contest by our bi-weekly contest by visiting critroll.com/submit. Hair check. We're good. Okay, put it back.
Missed it. I missed
Tie it all back
Yeah,
in
what
the
was
main
this?
What was the hand puppet for?
You'll see.
Was that a character?
You'll see when it airs.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of things all at once.
Okay.
Rules for our contest still available at critroll.com. Liam,
Yes.
we were able to talk to Matt about this when he was on the show last time, but something that we really, really want to know from you is about the Vokodo fight and the fucking disintegrate spell. So
Let's get into it.
okay,
Let's get into
we're going
it.
to, baby. So you chose Disintegrate for the final hit on Vokodo. Definitely a dangerous choice due to Vokodo's fucking spell ricochet ability.
Sure.
What led you to choose that spell in particular?
Oh man.
Or Caleb, for that matter.
I needed to talk about this today, so thank you.
I'm here for you, baby.
That was one of the most insane 60 to 90 seconds of gameplay that ever existed for perhaps the table, definitely for me in the entire history of the show, because a lot of people think that I just went, oh man, bet it all on black. Let's see what happens. But what if I told you that I larkened for the first 20 seconds of that moment?
Okay.
And that at 1:45 to midnight, I just forgot that the reflection thing was a thing. I just forgot it was a thing. I spent that whole battle going, I'm here to banish things. I am just here to banish. Maybe I'll buff my friends a little bit. Maybe I'll counterspell if that is applicable, but I'm just here to banish. And then we did. We just banished and it didn't work and it didn't. And then finally it did. Jester made it work. And then he was gone. But then everyone got greedy and it was done, but we brought him back. And it was 1:45. And I'm not an animatronic D&D lesson machine. I'm just a guy playing D&D at 11:45 at night. And he came back and everybody started Goodfellas circling him and kicking him. And I was like, well, Bo and Yasha's going to kill this guy. Oh, it's my turn? Disintegrate.
Boom.
And then a moment passed. This was weeks ago. I think it might have been a month ago or more. So I forgive me if the details are hazy. But I said disintegrate. And the room was quiet. And then time passed and Matt was like, do you really cast disintegrate? I was like, yeah, cast disintegrate. It's 11:45. Kill this fucking guy. We're done. We're getting out of here. We're getting the loot apparently, and we're done. And then Matt started rolling dice. Yep. And then in the back of my head, I went, why did he ask me if I really cast disintegrate?
Because it's going to hit something.
Oh, this guy reflects things. He did it like 10 times. Oh, no. And then Matt started rolling dice, and in the back of my brain, I'm going to take you guys on a journey.
Please.
In the back of my brain, I was like, well, just tell him that's not what you did. Tell him that you didn't want to do that. Tell him that you didn't remember the reflection thing. But he's already rolled dice. You can't take it back now. That's ridiculous. And then my brain started going, all right, okay, hold on a second. You've got a spell save DC of 17. This thing did not seem that fast, right? It wouldn't seem that fast. Maybe he had a +1 or +2 for dex saves. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Okay, so that means anything that's 14 or lower is going to go in my favor. 14 over 20. That's equivalent to 7 over 10. That's 70%. 70% chance of this going in my ways. This is fine. It's going to be 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 fine. And he's rolling all these dice and everyone starts talking. And still, to the best of my memory, no one has said, don't do this, it'll reflect. Like everyone must have been so stunned that I would do this that nobody said anything to tip me off that I was in eldritch madness at that point.
Eldritch madness.
And it was too late. It was happening. And then like I'm watching everybody like make comments and I realize that the thing can reflect back on us. And then I'm like, this is disintegrate. This is not fireball. This is not even finger of death. This is disintegrate. And then I started becoming morbidly, macabrely fascinated with the little puppet dance of death I had created. It was just like gallows humor to the end. I'm like, well, this is a mess and I have made a mess. Let's just sit in it. And somehow, nonsensically, spectacularly, it worked out in my favor.
It did.
Oh my God.
It actually ended up,
I went home that night and I got in a bed next to my wife who was fast asleep and I just stared. It was just one of those nights I stared at the ceiling going, dude,
that was fucking...
Dude.
That
and then
could
I
have been
had
real bad.
The cocktail Zoom party that I mentioned with Matt and Marisha was like 2 nights after that, where I was just like, to my therapist, I was like, that was the worst thing in the world. That would have been terrible if that happened. I can't believe that I just danced myself onto the precipice like a crazy person. And Marisha just went, epic roll though. And it was. And now
it's true.
I'm in the aftermath of it. And it was total nonsense. I'm an idiot, right? Like, contrary to popular belief, I do not have keen mind. I know, right? I know it was a terrible move, Henry. I am not highly gifted, just like I can't make fire, unless I have matches. But I just like dumped to them going like, it would have been the worst thing in the world. And Matt told me that night that that it was coming for me. That if he had reflected it, and as a DM, as a sometimes DM myself, of course, because if you got a player who's going to throw an M80 into the middle of the room, you're the one getting that M80 kicked back at you.
Yeah. But
That's on you.
he actually told us, I don't know if you saw the last Talks episode, but he told us the person that it would have hit would have been Molly if you guys had resurrected him in time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it
He's
was
playing
really
the long
a
game.
shocking
Playing a long
answer.
game,
I
yeah.
really
Yeah,
thought
it was
like
crazy answer.
really, really, really harsh move, but I respect it as a DM.
Wow, what a
myself.
moment. He just crawls up out of the dirt and just
murked. Ashley,
Yeah.
we got time for a couple more. I know there's
Okay.
so much to talk about, and when you guys come back on the next time, we'll keep talking about some of the stuff that's happened during because we just have a lot to talk about. But
It's true. We have to fit
I'm
in 2
loving-
episodes in one
We
Talks
do.
episode. We need a little
You
time.
need 2 hours for that.
And we
we
miss each
do.
other, so we want to talk.
I know we do. We miss each other. Dan,
I miss your horrific jokes, Brian.
hey, I got a couple good ones in the chamber lined up. Don't you worry, Ashley. We have to talk about the Yasha and her harp. So you've talked before about how learning to play the harp is akin to therapy for Yasha. What was it like to have multiple real performances for the for the people of Vo and for the Traveler Con attendees? One of my favorite yelling at the screen moments of recent was that performance check, but you came back and you did an encore, and that was tight. I loved it. That was beautiful.
I've been rolling so bad. I've been rolling so
Is it
bad,
the dice?
man.
Is it the dice that I got you for your birthday?
I'm using all the dice. It's just
Okay.
me.
All
It's
right,
just
I
me.
understand.
What about those dice though that are weird shaped? Like every time, it feels like every third
It's
roll
cocked
that
every
gets
time.
cocked.
Yeah. That's I'm just rolling bad. Yeah, it's funny because I think that Yasha is not very performative. Like she doesn't like the attention on her. So it's funny how this has sort of gone down where, she's starting to do performances with the harp. But I think it's also been an experiment, I guess, for me to sort of see if she does put herself out there, how does that affect her and what does that do for her? And I don't think she loves the attention, but I think the playing music for her feels like she's making something beautiful as opposed to putting something out there in the world that is negative or hurting somebody. And seeing people listen to it and have the response of like, wow, that's really nice. Or be affected in a positive way and or smile or be happy by it. I think that's what she responds to in it. It's not the attention of like, oh, hey, look at me, look at me. I think she's trying to sort of almost change her, I guess maybe how not how the world views her. I don't know. I think I'm still working through it too. But I think
So
her
changing how she views herself too, right? Like that's also a thing that's constantly changing as she's fighting to get. A lot of this campaign was spent Yasha fighting just to get control of herself so that she could continue her own journey and continue her own growth and her own process and healing and everything else she wants to get to.
And, she was essentially raised to be a weapon for her tribe and for the Sky Spear. So it's the first thing that is kind of her own, of something that she's learning and she's creating and putting out there in the world. And I've talked about this before, I love the contrast of playing a barbarian and someone who's tough and goes out on a battlefield, and when I roll well, goes out and slays, but she's also extremely gentle and loves flowers and loves beautiful music. And it's sort of the further away she's gotten from the tribe and is sort of finding herself and finding what she loves. They're all very gentle and peaceful things. And that's on purpose. But
Wow.
yeah.
I think it's also easy for some of these characters and for people to say, it's the easy route really, or the to say, I'm always angry, or I'm just sadness. That's all my life is. Or I only have hardship, or I'm bad. Everything I do is bad. And that can feel very real, but it's simplistic. And the real nuanced reality is that even people who are broken or flawed or who are dealing with hardship or anger or whatever it is also are human and have beauty to them. And that there's nobody who's black or white. Nobody, really.
Well,
I totally agree.
yeah, and speaking of Liam, Caleb has, to put it lightly, wrestled with the concept of redemption for a long time, but seems to see it as an option for people like Essek, Aelwulf, Astrid. So does his desire to see those people redeemed mean he could ever see it for himself, or does he still... We've talked about this so much, but I do want to know, like, the progress of where he's at. Like, does he still view himself as completely beyond redemption?
Well, Liam can see maybe a couple paths from where he is, where he can find a little bit of peace and do a little bit of good. I don't know if he is as conscious of it as I am. Again, I think it's just a huge step forward for him to be able to admit that he was molded in this direction. It wasn't just, you're awful. It's not simply you're awful. Like, someone wanted you to be here and that's why you're here. As far as redemption goes, like, I don't think he's even striving for redemption really. Only the pie in the sky brass ring goal that Caleb started with is what he ever thought of as for redemption. And I think maybe he'll chase that. He might, if he did and he achieved it, he might not find the solace that he was looking for, but maybe he'll still chase it. Astrid and Aedwulf deserve the ability to be brought as far along as he has by the Mighty Nine. They probably don't have anyone in their lives who could do that because they're surrounded by the system that made them. And Caleb broke off and has been shaped by these better people. And then with Essek, that's a complicated thing too. God, that happened ages ago, in the before times.
In the before times. Yes.
And that's complicated too. Like, God, there's so many aspects of that I could talk about. Essek, so like Caleb, there's a certain aspect of his training and he only made it a very short way into it before he got ejected out. But it was subtly like encouraged, suggested, or baked into them that, like, do whatever you need to do to get things done, be that violent or sexual or just whatever it takes to serve the Empire. With Essek, Caleb's relationship to Essek is many things. He's a little out of their sphere right now. Like, they're dealing with other things, and Essek is like, people wanted to like go find Essek and bring him down. And I think in that moment, like, Caleb was like, he thought it wasn't so much like protect my friend, even though he did have care for Essek and attraction to Essek, but it was more like, I need to go back home and I need to fix our yard, not their yard. That's their country. And we've helped here, but that's I don't speak for this place. I speak for that place. So if you want to fucking exact vengeance, or if you want to make shit work, let's go home and fix our shit, not that shit.
Yeah, you made that.
So that's
clear.
why he shot that down with the 9, or tried to. And then, like, the time on the boat where he, like, kissed him on the forehead, like, again, attraction to Essek is real, and care for Essek and, like, intellectual attraction is real too. But in that moment, that was many things. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm really attracted to you and I want to be with you. It was also like, there's a lot at stake here, and I can't let this get fucked up. So I'm going to say whatever I need to say right now to keep you on the rails and get through this. So don't go spinning off into despair or break your plan. We need everything to go as it did. So everything he said to Essek was true, and his attraction to Essek is true, but also Caleb was drawing on past experience and past training to make sure things went the way they needed to go. Boy, I talked about a lot of things in addition to redemption.
I'm very
so,
glad you just did, though.
So Caleb, Caleb would like for Essek to have redemption, but if I'm weighing all the things that Caleb has to focus on, including the 9, the Empire, the Eyes of 9, trying to, his teacher and his ex-classmates, Essek is not as high on the list of things that he needs to work on. But it doesn't mean that like their time that they spent there and like Essek is not like the 9. Essek is brilliant and gets it the way that Caleb gets it. So like that was great to be around. I don't know. That was
How does Caleb like to get it?
Well, he hasn't gotten it in a very long time.
I was
Wow.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
Critters will see that as soon as Liam sort of started that answer, I was furiously looking to Danny's window to see how she was responding in real time to what he's saying. Because normally I can just look at Danny and be like, because the camera's not on me when you're answering the questions. But now we're all on at the same time, so I have to look at Danny and be like, "Oh my God, she's loving this. She's."
I am respectfully watching the game.
I love all the shit with Essek because it's like high spy times, and Essek was fucking manipulating us and a lot of people. I mean, again, like you think about spies, and there's definitely a level of realness, and like they get close to each other and develop feelings for each other and care for each other, but they're also trying to achieve the things they are trying to achieve. And that motherfucker was doing some shit that had nothing to do with our feelings or us being happy or the Empire being good, or he was going after his ends, man. Mm-hmm. So it's messy, and that's what we like here is messy.
All I can think of is that this is all just an incredible prequel to the Spy Kids AU, where Caleb and Essek are the parents.
Oh my gosh.
Those Spy Kids movies were lit back in the day.
I can see that.
Dude, they were so good.
They're pretty lit back in the day, man. Robert
I
Rodriguez,
remember-
he doesn't fuck around.
No, I remember after seeing that, I stole the shiitake mushrooms.
Solid.
Oh, wow. Pulling from the vault. Ashley Jenkins, the Spy Kids vault. Yeah, dude. Spy Kids is dope. Maybe I'll eat like 6 brownies and watch Spy Kids tonight. You know what I mean?
Good idea.
I could see a version of the future where Caleb and Essek are like spy masters of their respective countries, but every once in a while they'll meet up like, what am I thinking of? Killing Eve. Fiona Shaw
I still want to watch
and her ex-lover, like, but they're still spy masters of different countries going like, oh, hey, I remember when but we're also fucking spies. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Exactly.
It's bigger, man. 2 households. 2 households.
In Verona.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alexandria, where we lay our scene.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, well, we got to wrap up soon, but I wanted to ask you before we go, speaking of the Eyes of 9, you both aided Bo in the library when she was doing the research into the Tomb Takers and the Eyes of 9. What are Caleb and Yasha's thoughts on her theories of Ayor being in the Living City and it being tied into Nonagon's original ritual, and that Vesper Bologna. It's not delivery.
Bologna.
It's Bologna. It says it right here on my...
Vespoloni.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
Ash.
Boy. So many things that I'm thinking about that. But that was I'm really glad I got to be there for that, because that was a fun time being with the Empire kids and being in a library, and also getting a little bit more time with the 2 of you guys, a little more time with Bo. But yeah, I really, I feel like it's right there. And probably by this point, the audience and the critters are like, how have you guys not figured this out yet?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The hive mind figures everything out about a month before we do.
Yes, of course. But because Marisha and I were talking about it off screen, and we're both like, it's right there. It's right there. What are we missing? What is it?
I bet she's close. I bet Detective Lionette is pretty close to the reality of it.
I know. I think so too. I feel like that's. I can't. I'm so excited for the next game.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
so
can't wait
excited
to
for the next
see.
game.
I can't wait to find Molly. Like I really have always thought that Matt would, because it was so hard to like lose Molly so early, and I'm like, well, eventually somewhere down the line, Matt is going to bend him back in. And when we started talking about nines and stuff, again, I enjoyed playing Caleb because Caleb's he's never has been, although maybe he is now because there's too much crazy shit happening. He's never been a fate guy. I've been like, so I like demurred at it on purpose as Caleb would be like, I don't know, visions. I don't know. Maybe Vokodo was just scared and shat his pants, and that's what we saw. But it's time. Like all the chickens are coming home to roost. It's time. And Matt's all his little webs are going to start going.
Yep, it feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels like maybe the beginning of Act 3 of the campaign. Danny, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but maybe it feels like it's like beginning of Act 3 if it's a 3-act play.
I don't know how many acts there are, but it definitely feels like the start of a new journey. I will definitely say that.
It does. A cold journey.
And we don't know yet because Jester was scrying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all still don't
So
technically.
we don't
y'all
know.
are digging in a hole right now while
You're
Jester
looking for
talks to
exactly.
Traveler.
We're just standing there, and
Exactly.
she's gotta drop that info, which is gonna
We're just in mud and rain, and she's having a revelation while we're all like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Something I gotta ask everybody until everybody's been on is Vilya. I gotta ask what that was like. Tell me.
Oh man,
I talked to Matt and Laura about it last week, but yeah.
I thought that was such an incredible moment when it opens up and then we got to see Keyleth. I was onions, all of it. Tears were coming. I just was looking at Marisha just like, just so happy and just what a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I mean, Keyleth is still as an element of our story is like everything to me. And to like just get another little peek, like the story that we all told together and my sliver of it with Marisha, like that story is really important to me. So just to get a glimpse to see her again, meaningful.
That was fun.
And what a fucking long game gift that Matt gave to Marisha.
That's exactly what he talked about in the last talks, and that was so sweet. And I just thought, like, oh man, that's the level of thoroughness and thought and care that he puts into every single one of those threads and spider webs that you mentioned a minute ago, Liam. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible.
It was cool to see because we could all see how that affected Marisha and how special that was to her that Matt wove that into the story. It
and
was
sat
just, it was,
on it.
Yeah.
Sat on it and waited,
It was
That's
a beautiful
long game,
moment there were so many layers to that moment of just us as friends, as seeing Marisha experience that moment, Matt bringing that into the story. It was just like, that was such a cool moment.
Yeah. And such a great like note in her song or color in her painting to, she achieved and will continue to, but achieved like magnificent things and it's powerful and great, but had a very, heartbreaking, sad ending. So then to later to have this sliver of joy go back in is so complex and so beautiful and just masterfully done.
Fucking D&D,
she lost her love, but she got her mama back.
Yeah, that's true.
So beautiful.
That's true.
I didn't even think about it in that way. Ugh, I love this game.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, on that beautiful fucking note, that is literally all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for staying late and answering all these amazing questions, friends. I love you. Not friends. I mean, one of you's. I'm sleeping with one of you, and the other one's Ashley Johnson. it's not hard to.
For it.
Anyways, I would like to thank both of my spouses for joining us tonight. As always, our amazing lore keeper, Danny Carr.
Danny Carr.
Henry, who's
Cosplaying as Goth Jester tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Come here, boy.
Yeah, let's see if he'll come up and say goodnight. Henry, come here. Come here.
Come on, boys.
I think
You guys
Henry's
gotta
got one
see how
more in
darn
him.
cute he looks.
Oh, hi.
Come on.
Come here, big boy.
There you
No,
go.
there they are.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just sleeping.
Oh,
He's just laying down. He's just
Am I on the show?
He's like, am I on the show that Henry's famous for? We'll be back in a couple weeks. Until then, as always, don't forget to love each other. Don't worry. It's almost Thursday. Stay turned, my friends. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Wha-bam! Snuck one in.